Hi, middle school coaches. This is Kirk Framke from Slavens, and here is the district course for us this year. It is very similar to last year with a couple changes. So, the start of the race, you'll start here, run along the field. It's the same as the Slavens Invitational. Same path. And obviously I just moved it. Sorry. So, the same path. And then students or runners will turn on the same course as the Slavens Invitational. But here's where it changes. So instead of going all the way up to the corner in the Slavens race, runners are going to run up and then come around this tree here, and then they'll need to stay on the eastern side of this little field coming down the tree, or coming down the hill. They need to stay between, they're not allowed to go in the parking lot that's right here. And obviously we don't want them to merge over here, so there will be tape coming down this area, this middle area, and a volunteer checking. So then runners will run down the hill. Really wants to act up. Okay, this is about right. So they'll run down the hill. And then they'll come around here, make the turn around the golf course fence, and then they're going to stay on the path just a little bit here to cross cattails, and then they'll come up. Oh my goodness gracious. See if I can actually get it in the right place. Okay. So then they'll come down and around. Now in the Slavens race, at this point, they make a sharp right turn down along the gulch. In districts, they do not. They'll turn around on their left, go around the fitness little area, and then they're going to complete their turn. You gotta love Promethean, right? So, and then they'll come down the hill until they come in to the cattails, where they're going to cross the cattails. It'll be a slightly different location than the Slavens race, so it should be not as beaten down as that place is now. And then they'll come back up north through that little grove of trees, staying on the east side of the field, up, and then up here they'll go around the little garden area. And then they'll come back north, veering. It's trying to become humorous. And they'll veer into the middle of the field. Now this little Y thing, this satellite photo was taken when Harvard Gulch was under construction, so that is actually not there now. It's just grass field. And so they'll follow this to the north side of the rec center, and they'll come across their first mile right here, and that will be marked. Then they're going to continue on the grass, using this path as a northwestern boundary, and then they'll turn back onto the sports fields and come behind the start area, and then they're going to hit a really steep short hill here. It's the hill that the local kids use for sledding, which is kind of exciting because with the gulch right here, obviously you can end up in the gulch when you're sledding. And then they'll follow the gulch to this crossing right here. That is the same crossing as the Slavens meet, just it's going the opposite direction.
What's this?
So then the runners will cross the creek, and then instead of following the creek like the high school kids do, they're going to run south, leaving the creek, and then turn up here and then come back meeting the creek over here. Now the reason behind this is to get the correct distance for the middle school race, we need to have kids do a little bit more than one high school lap, about 1,000 feet more. And so this sort of creating a triangle here gives us that distance, which is nice. So then once they rejoin the creek, they'll come up and around this little area that has a railing has a little inlet for water to end up into the gulch. So they'll come around this little area here, and then they'll stay on the hill, up on the hill away from the actual water, and they'll run on the grass up the little hill that's right about here for the what's it called, for the dam. And then they'll stay on the grass on the top of the hill until here, where they're going to run down a short little hill and they're going to go into the creek. But unlike the other races, instead of exiting the creek immediately, they're going to make a left-hand turn and run through the water to an exit point right here. Now this distance is roughly the length of a classroom or so it's not super long, but it is actual running in the water instead of just in and out. So then they'll exit, go up a little hill, go around the dam, and then once they get around the dam, they'll come back next to the creek, so they're on the lower part of the park as opposed to the upper. And then they'll come to a water crossing here, and once they cross or get out of the water here, then it's a straight shot. I mean, they veer to the left a little bit, up into the finish. Now, this course, or the finish, is going to be a little bit different than normal. So the timers for all the non-Slavens meet timers are the timers here, and so they're not a big fan of the whole chip clipping thing. So we're going to let them have their area here, and then once they get to the baseball diamond, we're going to have this fenced off, and along the fence we're going to have the Ziploc bags with your school name on the fence, and so your runners will have to take off their chip and put it in their correct school bag. And then we'll have a volunteer over in this area monitoring the exit, so that make sure kids have pulled their chips and put them in, well, hopefully they put them in the correct bags. So that way we meet the desires of the timing company, but also we respect the coaches and not having to manage to track down 50 to 60 kids at a time, which obviously you know is impossible. This note is obviously for the high school race, so don't worry about that. So I'm pulling that off. So now it's not on your map that you see. The third mile, again, does not apply to us. And all right, so I think that's it. I'm looking forward to another great race. It's a lot smaller than the Slavens meet, and should be really fun. I wish everyone good luck on your training. See you on the 13th.